There's a massive scam targeting Harley riders that's been operating in plain sight for decades, and every loyal rider falls for it every single year. Today, I'm exposing the Harley-Davidson frauds they've desperately tried to keep quiet. Once you see how they've been treating you, you'll never want to ride your Harley again. Scam number 1. The Harley tax price inflation. You've heard people joke about the Harley tax, that premium you pay for the name. But what they don't tell you is just how calculated and deliberate this markup really is. Here's what's happening. Harley-Davidson has masterfully created a culture where paying more is seen as a badge of honor. You get what you pay for, they say. It's an investment in American craftsmanship, they claim. The brutal truth? Many Harley parts cost 200 to 300% more than virtually identical components for other motorcycles. That chrome switch housing that costs $89.95, it contains about $12 worth of materials in manufacturing. That Screamin' Eagle air filter for $299, it performs almost identically to aftermarket options costing half as much. What's even more shocking is how this pricing strategy extends to every aspect of the ownership experience. That $25 oil filter? It's often the exact same filter sold for other brands at $12, just with a bar and shield stamped on it. The $150 per hour labor rate? It's nearly double what independent shops charge for the same work performed by equally qualified technicians. The most egregious example might be their proprietary diagnostic tool. Dealers charge $150 to $200 just to connect it to your bike for basic troubleshooting, a process that takes literally minutes and costs them nothing after their initial investment in the equipment. Meanwhile, other manufacturers have moved toward standardized diagnostic systems that independent shops can access at reasonable costs. What makes this a scam isn't just the markup. All premium brands charge more. It's the deliberate mythology they've created that these parts are somehow exponentially better, more durable, or more authentic than alternatives. The solution isn't abandoning the brand you love. It's becoming a smarter Harley owner. Research compatible parts from reputable aftermarket manufacturers. Join owner forums where veterans share which Harley-branded parts are worth the premium and which are identical to generic options with a bar and shield slapped on them. For maintenance items like filters, fluids, and basic components, explore quality alternatives that won't compromise your bike's performance or reliability. Next up is a tactic that dealers love because it makes them millions. But for buyers, it's a trap that could haunt you for years. Scam number 2, the depreciation deception. Harley salespeople love telling you that their bikes hold their value better than any other motorcycle. They'll call it an investment and show you 20-year-old models still commanding impressive prices. Here's what they're hiding. While Harleys do generally depreciate slower than some brands in the long term, they experience massive depreciation in the first 2 to 3 years, often 30 to 40% of the purchase price. That $25,000 Street Glide you just financed? It's worth about $16,000 the moment you ride it home. What's particularly deceptive is how they cherry-pick examples to support their investment narrative. They'll point to vintage panheads or knuckleheads that have been appreciated, conveniently ignoring that these are rare exceptions representing less than 1% of production models. They won't mention the thousands of 5 to 10-year-old Sportsters, Dynas, and Softails selling for fractions of their original price. The depreciation hit is even worse for heavily customized bikes. That $5,000 you spent on chrome accessories and custom paint? You'll recover pennies on the dollar when selling. Dealers know this intimately. It's why they push those high-margin accessories so aggressively at the time of purchase, often rolling them into financing where they continue depreciating while you pay interest on them. What makes this especially painful is how it's baked into their financing models. Many Harley loans are structured so that you're underwater for the majority of the loan term. This creates a trap where riders can't sell without coming out of pocket thousands of dollars, effectively making them captive customers for service, parts, and eventually, another overpriced Harley. What makes this deceptive is how dealers use selective examples of vintage models that have been appreciated to create the impression that all Harleys are investments. They conveniently ignore the thousands of recent model Harleys selling for fractions of their original price. The solution is straightforward. If you want a new Harley, look for models that are 2 to 3 years old with low mileage. You'll get essentially the same bike for 30 to 40% less, with most of the steep depreciation already absorbed by the original owner. Better yet, look for dealer demo models or new old stock from previous years. These often come with full warranties, but at significant discounts. If you must buy new, plan to keep the bike for at least 8 to 10 years to outlast the depreciation curve. And never ever believe a salesperson who tells you you're investing in a production motorcycle. Depreciation hurts. But what if I told you that the famous Harley roar is fake? The truth might ruin everything you thought you knew about it. Scam number 3, the Harley rumble engine myth. For decades, Harley owners have been told that certain engine characteristics, excessive vibration, oil leaks, and heat, are just part of the Harley experience. They've turned mechanical flaws into cultural features. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Many of these character traits are actually design compromises that Harley has been slow to address. That signature vibration? It's largely due to the outdated engine design that Harley clung to for decades. Those oil leaks? Often the result of manufacturing tolerances that other manufacturers solved years ago. What makes this a scam is how Harley has marketed these flaws as features, convincing riders to accept problems that would be warranty claims on any other brand. It's not leaking oil, it's marking its territory, they joke, while you're left with stained garage floors and unnecessary maintenance costs. The most egregious example is how they've handled engine heat issues, particularly on touring models. For years, riders complained about excessive heat cooking their legs at stoplights. Heat so extreme it could cause burns through jeans. Rather than comprehensively redesigning the exhaust routing or adding effective heat shields, Harley's solution was to sell heat deflector shields as expensive accessories. They literally created a problem, then sold you the partial solution as an upgrade. The vibration issue is equally telling. While other manufacturers developed counterbalancers and modern engine designs that deliver smooth power without sacrificing character, Harley stubbornly stuck with their antiquated design, marketing the bone-jarring vibration as authentic feel. Only after losing significant market share did they finally introduce the Milwaukee 8 engine with proper balancing. And suddenly, the marketing changed to praise how smooth the new engines were, tacitly admitting the previous vibration wasn't actually desirable. Perhaps most telling is how quickly Harley abandoned these character traits in their Pan America Adventure bike and New Revolution Max engines. When competing directly against modern Japanese and European motorcycles, suddenly those authentic Harley characteristics disappeared in favor of modern engineering solutions. This proves they always knew these were flaws, not features, but were content to let their core customers believe otherwise. The solution isn't abandoning the Harley experience, it's knowing which character to accept and which to fix. Modern Harleys, especially those with the Milwaukee 8 engines, have addressed many of these issues. If you're buying used, research which model years had specific problems resolved, and never accept a dealer telling you that significant mechanical issues are just how Harleys are. For existing owners, join owner forums where you'll find actual solutions to common problems rather than the "that's normal" dismissal you might get at dealerships. Many of these character traits can be fixed with proper maintenance and targeted upgrades. And if you think you've heard it all, think again. Because this next scam doesn't just take your money, it locks you into a system that's nearly impossible to escape. Scam number 4, the dealer service monopoly. Harley dealers have created an elaborate myth that only they can properly service your motorcycle. They'll hint that using independent shops might void your warranty, compromise your bike's performance, or even make it unsafe. Here's what they don't tell you. Under the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, manufacturers cannot void your warranty simply because you used aftermarket parts or independent service. They must prove that the part or service actually caused a problem. Yet dealers continue to use vague threats about warranty coverage to keep you paying their inflated service rates. What makes this particularly deceptive is how they've created proprietary diagnostic tools, and restricted access to certain parts, creating artificial barriers for independent shops. They've essentially created a service monopoly, then charged accordingly. The service department manipulation goes even deeper with their maintenance schedule recommendations. Harley's official service intervals often call for procedures far more frequently than engineering necessity requires. Oil changes every 5,000 miles, when the synthetic oil they use is rated for 10,000 plus miles in similar engines. Transmission fluid changes at intervals twice as frequent as comparable motorcycles. Primary chain case inspections that require expensive labor, but rarely find actual issues. Former Harley technicians have privately admitted that many of these service recommendations are driven more by revenue goals than mechanical necessity. One ex-dealer tech told me, "We were trained to find at least $300 in additional recommended services for every bike that came in for basic maintenance. Management tracked our upsell rate and tied it directly to our compensation." This revenue pressure leads to absurd recommendations. Riders report being told they need complete fork rebuilds at 15,000 miles when the components show no signs of wear, or being pressured into full brake system flushes annually, regardless of brake fluid condition. These services often cost hundreds of dollars, yet provide minimal real-world benefit for most riders. The dealer monopoly extends to their parts departments as well. Many Harley-specific components are available only through dealers, who mark them up substantially. When independent shops try to order these parts, they face higher prices and longer wait times than customers, a deliberate strategy to make independent service less competitive. Perhaps most telling is how dealers handle recall work. Though recalls are fully covered by the manufacturer, dealers often use these mandatory visits to generate additional service revenue. Riders report bringing bikes in for simple recall fixes, only to be presented with lengthy, recommended service lists that have nothing to do with the recall issue. The solution is knowing your rights and options. For routine maintenance like oil changes, tire replacements, and basic service, independent motorcycle shops can save you 30 to 50%, while often providing more personalized service. For warranty work and complex diagnostics, you may need to use the dealer, but even then, you can negotiate labor rates or seek out dealers known for fair service pricing. Document all maintenance meticulously, keep receipts, and use manufacturer-recommended fluids and filters. This protects your warranty rights, even when using independent service. And remember, a dealer service advisor works on commission. Their recommendations are sales pitches, not medical diagnoses. The scams are only getting worse, and this next one hits riders right where it hurts. It promises more performance, but what you actually get is a whole different story. Scam number 5. The performance parts paradox. Walk into any Harley dealership and you'll be bombarded with Screamin' Eagle performance parts promising more power, better sound, and improved riding experience. What they don't tell you is that many of these performance upgrades actually hurt your bike's overall performance. Here's the reality check. Many Harley performance parts are designed primarily for sound, not actual performance. That Stage 1 kit with pipes and air cleaner? Without proper tuning, it often creates a lean condition that reduces torque in the riding range you actually use while making the bike run hotter. Those drag pipes? They look and sound impressive, but typically reduce low-end torque where street riders need it most. What makes this a scam is how dealers sell these modifications as upgrades when they're often lateral moves at best, trading one performance aspect for another while charging premium prices for the privilege. The performance parts deception goes even deeper when you examine the dyno numbers that Harley selectively shares. When they claim a 10% horsepower increase from their Stage 1 kit, they're typically measuring at peak RPM, a range where street riders almost never operate. What they don't advertise is that these same modifications often reduce torque by 5 to 15% in the 2,000 to 3,500 RPM range where most street riding occurs. Independent dyno testing has repeatedly shown that many popular Harley exhaust upgrades actually create power curves worse than stock for real-world riding. The loudest pipes typically perform the worst in mid-range torque, yet they're often the most expensive and aggressively marketed options. The tuning aspect is particularly deceptive. Dealers will sell you a $1,500 exhaust system, then explain you need a $600 tuner to make it work properly. Even then, many dealer technicians perform only basic, pre-programmed tunes rather than custom dyno tuning that would actually optimize performance. The result? You've spent over $2,000 for a setup that's louder but performs worse in everyday riding situations. This problem is compounded by Harley's emissions control strategies. Modern Harleys have sophisticated engine management systems designed to meet EPA requirements. When you install performance parts that circumvent these systems, the bike often runs poorly unless properly tuned. Dealers know this, yet they'll happily sell you pipes without emphasizing the additional costs required to make them function correctly. Perhaps most telling is how Harley's own racing department approaches performance. Their race bikes use fully engineered exhaust systems with proper back pressure, carefully designed intake paths, and comprehensive engine management tuning. These scientific principles are largely ignored in the parts they market to consumers, where appearance and sound take priority over actual performance. Former Harley performance specialists have admitted that many popular performance products were developed primarily to hit price points and profit margins, with actual performance improvements being secondary considerations. One ex-employee told me, "We knew certain pipes hurt performance in the riding range most customers use, but they sold well because they were loud and looked cool." The solution is approaching performance modifications holistically. If you want more power, work with shops that do before and after dyno testing to prove their modifications actually deliver results. Understand that real performance improvements require comprehensive changes: fuel management, air intake, exhaust, and proper tuning as a complete system. For many riders, the smarter approach is focusing on suspension and comfort upgrades that improve the riding experience more meaningful than marginal horsepower gains. And always ask for actual performance data, not just sound clips or marketing claims. The deeper we go, the more brutal it gets. This next scam takes your personal style and turns it into a never-ending money trap. Scam number 6. The endless customization hole. Harley has built an entire business model around the idea that your motorcycle is never finished. There's always one more chrome accessory, one more custom paint job, one more limited edition part. You need to make it complete. The uncomfortable truth: this endless customization treadmill is deliberately designed to keep you spending long after you've paid for the bike itself. The average Harley owner spends between $2,000, $5,000 on accessories and customization within the first year of ownership, often more than the depreciation on the bike itself. What makes this particularly insidious is how Harley has woven this consumption into the culture. Making it your own isn't just encouraged, it's practically mandatory to be accepted in many Harley circles. The stock bike is presented as merely a canvas, not a complete product. The solution isn't avoiding personalization altogether. Making your bike reflect your personality is part of the joy of ownership. Instead, create a customization budget before you buy the bike and stick to it. Prioritize modifications that improve your actual riding experience over purely cosmetic changes. And remember that heavily customized bikes are often harder to sell and command less of a premium than owners expect. If the customization trap drains your wallet, this next move is even worse. Harley's branding doesn't just sell bikes, it sells identity. And once you're in, getting out isn't as easy as you think. Scam number 7. The lifestyle brand upsell. Perhaps the most brilliant scam of all is how Harley-Davidson transformed from a motorcycle manufacturer into a lifestyle brand that happens to sell motorcycles. Walk into any Harley dealership and you'll find as much floor space dedicated to clothing, accessories, and branded merchandise as to actual motorcycles. From $40 t-shirts to $750 leather jackets, Harley has mastered the art of selling the lifestyle at premium prices. Here's what they don't advertise. These soft goods often carry profit margins of 200 to 400%. That $30 Harley t-shirt costs about $4 to $6 to manufacture. The $200 dealer-branded hoodie about $25 in actual production costs. What makes this a scam isn't just the markup. It's how they've made wearing the brand a prerequisite for acceptance in the culture they've created. They've convinced riders that owning the bike isn't enough. You need to be a walking billboard for the brand to be a real Harley owner. If you think overpriced merch is the scam, think again. The real danger comes next, when your dream bike turns into a financial time bomb, and no one warns you until it's already ticking. Scam number 8, the financing fortress. Here's a scam that hits you before you even throw a leg over your new Harley. Predatory financing practices designed to extract thousands in additional profit while keeping you trapped in a cycle of payments. Walk into a Harley dealership ready to buy, and the focus quickly shifts from the bike to the affordable monthly payment. What they don't emphasize is that those attractive payments often come with loan terms stretching 72, 84, or even 96 months. That's up to 8 years financing a depreciating asset. Here's the brutal math they hide. On a $25,000 Harley financed for 84 months at 7.99% interest, a common Harley financial services rate, you'll pay over $8,000 in interest alone. By the time you own it outright, you've paid $33,000 for a bike that's now worth maybe $12,000, $15,000. What makes this particularly devious is how they structure these loans to create negative equity, owing more than the bike is worth for most of the loan term. This traps riders in a cycle where they can't sell or trade without coming out of pocket thousands of dollars, making them captive customers for service, parts, and eventually another overpriced Harley. The solution requires discipline. If you can't afford a 48-month loan term or shorter, you're buying too much motorcycle. Shop for financing before visiting the dealership. Credit unions often offer motorcycle loans at 2 to 3% lower interest than Harley Financial, and always negotiate the actual purchase price before discussing financing. Dealers often give discounts on the bike only to make it up with inflated interest rates or unnecessary add-ons. Coming up is one of Harley's most powerful illusions: false rarity. It feels like you're buying into something elite until you realize the exclusivity you paid for is a massive lie. Scam number 9, the false exclusivity marketing. Harley-Davidson has perfected the art of manufacturing scarcity and false exclusivity to drive sales and command premium prices. Limited editions, numbered series, anniversary models, and factory custom bikes create a sense of urgency and exclusivity that simply doesn't match reality. Here's what they don't tell you. Most of these limited models are produced in the thousands or tens of thousands. That rare anniversary edition? They made 10,000 identical ones. That one-of-a-kind custom paint job? It's one of 750 with the exact same scheme. What makes this deceptive is how they leverage FOMO, or fear of missing out, to push buyers into immediate purchases at premium prices. Only 3 left in the country, they claim, without mentioning they can order more, or that identical models will be available with different badging next year. The solution is recognizing manufactured scarcity for what it is: a marketing tactic. Research production numbers before paying premiums for limited editions. Understand that truly collectible motorcycles are rarely identified as such when new. They become collectible through historical significance, not marketing departments. Think community is just about riding together? Think again. Harley turned it into their most brilliant and brutal money-making trick yet. Scam number 10, the Harley Owner Group membership scheme. Here's the final scam that perfectly encapsulates Harley's business model: charging you for the privilege of advertising their brand. The Harley Owner Group membership is presented as an exclusive club offering special benefits and camaraderie. What they don't emphasize is that you're paying to be part of their marketing machine. Think about it. You buy their product at a premium price, then pay an annual fee to join their club, where you wear their branded gear, attend their sponsored events, and essentially become a walking, riding billboard for their company. It's like buying a TV and then paying a monthly fee to tell everyone how great it is. The uncomfortable truth: most HOG benefits can be found for free elsewhere. Route planning? Free apps do it better. Roadside assistance? Your insurance or credit card probably already includes it. Riding community? Independent motorcycle groups offer more authentic connections without the corporate oversight. The solution isn't necessarily avoiding HOG completely. Some chapters are genuinely welcoming communities with great rides. But join with your eyes open. Understand that it's primarily a marketing program designed to increase brand loyalty and spending. Participate in the aspects you enjoy, but don't feel obligated to buy into every branded experience or purchase they promote. So the next time someone tells you buying a Harley is all about freedom, remember how many chains come with it. The bike may be yours, but the system? That's all theirs. I'm not telling you to abandon Harley-Davidson. The motorcycles themselves offer a unique riding experience that many people genuinely love. The community can be welcoming and supportive. The history and tradition are real and meaningful. What I'm advocating is becoming a more informed, discerning Harley owner who enjoys the authentic benefits of the brand without falling prey to the marketing schemes and cultural pressures designed to extract maximum profit from your passion. Research thoroughly before any purchase. Question the dealer claims and seek independent verification. Join owner forums where experienced riders share honest assessments and money-saving tips. Distinguish between the authentic Harley experience and the manufactured consumption culture built around it. The greatest irony is that the most respected Harley riders, the ones with decades of experience and thousands of miles under their belts, are often the least susceptible to these marketing schemes. They know which dealer services matter and which are unnecessary. They understand which customizations improve the ride and which are purely cosmetic. They wear what's comfortable and protective, not what has the most logos. If you found this eye-opening, click on the next video right now, where I reveal the insider strategies that smart riders use to enjoy these legendary machines without getting played by the system.